Okay. Okay. Almost right. Morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you can all see the flowers here in honor of Shavuot. We've done our best to decorate the shawl as we normally would, so at least there's a sense of Yom Tov, even as it stands unfortunately somewhat empty. Okay, morning everyone, welcome to my pre-Shavuot sermon. We'll start with the prayers, the extra Tehillim that we're going to sing together. Number 121, which if you're in the singers is page 510. Please join in with me. We have particularly in mind all those who are unwell and all those in need. Shalom alois. Es oinoi el harim me'ayin yavoi Ezri me'im adonai oiseh shamayim va'aretz al yitein lamoid raglecha al yalum Shoimrecha Hinei lo yanum v'lo yishan Shoimei Yisroel Adonai Shoimerecha Adonai tzilcha Al yad yaminecha Yoimam Hashemesh lo yakeka V'yoreh b'laylo Adonai yishmorecha Mikol ra yishmor es nafshecha Adonai yishmor tzeitzcho v'yecha Ve'yata b'yadonam. A song of ascents. I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where will my help come from? It comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot stumble. He who guards you does not slumber. The guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. For the Lord is your guardian and your shade at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day nor the moon by night. For the Lord will guard you from all harm. He will guard your life. He will guard your going and coming now and forevermore. We're going to say prayers for those who are unwell. If you have any names to add, please say them yourself out loud at the point where we say all the names in the prayer. Yes, Chaim Tovia David ben Chayaleya. Yes, Avram Shraga ben Tzara Tavira. Yes, Baruch Shimon ben Fedor. Yes, Pesach ben Sheni Gita. Yes, Shevas ben Chanaliba. Yes, Moshe Gershon ben Fega. Yes, Yeshua Chona ben Miriam. Yes, Shlomo ben Mindor. Yes, Avram ben Tzara Peril. Yes, Moshe Melech ben Masha Fega. Yes, Mordechai David ben Tzirol. Yes, Yaakov ben Miriam. Yes, Michal ben Henya. Yes, Yonasan ben Sora. Yes, Kasio ben Fredon. Yes, Pinchas ben Liba. Yes, Yitzhak ben Rosachayev. Yes, Baruch ben Tovachaya. Yes, Yudah Chaim ben Esther Bracha. Yes, Shmuel Reuven ben Nechama Esther. Yes, Shmuel Yehuda ben Kaila. Yes, Rafal Hirsch Yonah ben Chana. Yes, Yirmiyahu ben Sora. Yes, Wolf ben Pauline. Yes, Yitzhak Isaac ben Yudis Racha. Yes, Nosson ben Shoshana. Yes, Meir ben Malka. Yes, David ben Tova. Yes, Moshe ben Shifra Racha. Yes, Malka bas Chana. Yes, Esther Chana bas Tavira. Yes, Esther bas Racha. Yes, Herschel bas Racha. Yes, Francis bas Herschel. Yes, Leah bas Karen. Yes, Yael bas Augustina bas Sora. Yes, Simon Masha bas Yacha. Yes, Shnames bas Chailiba. Yes, Deborah bas Sora Liba. Yes, Gali bas Sovis. Yudis bas Bela. Yes, Leas bas Etel. Bavush and Razin Zaka Bavuram. Yes, Chazek Shbochim Achim Lavim Chalim Apes Machazik Amachayosam. וישלח להם מרפוא שלהם ושלם לכל להם וחוגיליהם, ששכם וצרופס הנפש וזקוף, השתה בגלה בזמן קריב, ונאמר, Amen. Okay, and we wish long life to those with Yortzeit this week as follows. On Sunday, Suzanne Grossman for her father, Ronald Herber for his mother, and Roy Phillips for his father. On Monday, Susan Brenner for her grandfather, Helen DeHaan, Audrey Taylor for their mother, also for her mother, Shirley Kay for her brother, Roz Lindsay for her mother, Simon Henry for his father, Gemma Saville for her mother, former wife of Jeffrey Saville, and Kitty Selby for her son. On Wednesday, Doreen Jacobs for her father and for her husband, father of Robin and Harvey Jacobs, Michael Mandoff for his father, Hilly Saffron for her husband, Paul Saffron, father, and Avril Scott for her father. On Thursday, Eunice Barron for her father, Cyril Beck for his father, Helen Fenton for her mother, Anthony Levy for his father, Harvey Martin for his father, and Patricia West for her father. And on Friday, Gavin and Sarah Handman for their son, Carol Nathanson for her father, Gloria Saville for her father. We wish them long life. Chaim Aruchim. Adonai Olamim Zechores Nishmois. Mordechai Sovet Shimon HaKoyen. Ves Miriam Bas Lazaroi. Ves Michal Ben Chaim. Ves Rachel Bas Shmuel. Ves Rivka Bas Avrom. Ves Dovi Ben Chaim Beryl. Ves Feigel Bas Yosef. Ves Yehuda Ben Abba. Ves Mordechai Ben Eliyahu. Ves Yehudis Bas Chaim. Ves Yomis Bas Dovid. Ves Ben Yosef Yehuda. Ves Binyamin Ben Victor. Ves Moshe Ben Zeif. Ves Yechu Ben Chaim. Ves Alma Ben Moshe. Ves Manasseh Ben Yisrael Mana. Shachul Olamam. Ana Avram Maslichos Inashan Tzorus Tzorachayim. Osim L'chasam Kavod. V'noima. Amen. Wish long life to all those with the Yortzeit. A reminder that we'll be doing Yizkah at 5:30 tonight over Zoom. You can say Yizkah at home. Please do say Yizkah at home. It's in the Machzah. It's in the booklet we sent out. But nonetheless, if people would like to join together before Yom Tov as well, we'll be doing that at 5:30 tonight. So, regarding Shavuot, it's a holiday that often seems to get forgotten. 1 minute. Okay, it's a holiday that often seems to get forgotten. Amongst all the other things, Pesach, you have your Pesach food. Sukkot, you have your Sukkah. Shavuos, what do you have? You have cheesecake. And as somebody put it, they heard a kid in a Jewish school, one parent saying to another, oh, it's Shavuot next week. Oh, good, 3 extra days at Center Parks. So it's a bit of a poor cousin to some of the other holidays, certainly Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. Ironically, we find ourselves celebrating it at home. Perhaps, who knows, perhaps more of us will celebrate this year. Hopefully you've all had the booklet. If you haven't, it's available to download with various items from our website, wfus.org.uk/download. There's lots of material there to keep you busy over Yom Tov besides eating cheesecake. So what is the message, besides for hearing the 10 Commandments, which we will have to do to ourselves, and being in shul and eating dairy food, what is the message of Shavuot? And what's the message that is relevant to us if we find ourselves at home and not in the shul setting? So, there's a famous joke about the fellow who was walking in the park and he sees a chap sitting on a park bench drinking beer and smoking. He goes up to him, he says, don't mean to be rude, but it's very bad for you. He says, how much do you drink a day? He says, about 10 cans of beer. He says, and how much do you smoke? He says, 40 a day. He says, well, all things considered, I suppose you're not in such bad shape. He says, tell me, how old are you? And the guy says, 27. So in Judaism, I'm not saying you should go and drink and smoke too much, but in Judaism, have an interesting approach to, if you like, the pleasures of this world, the vices of this world even, and the physical world we live in. Many cultures and religions will either emphasize the physical, right? Live for today, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we snuff it, there's nothing else to do, right? The bohemian kind of lifestyle. And then you have, at the other extreme, those who say, go live on a mountaintop, be a hermit, don't get married and have children, live on bread and water, don't speak to anyone, take a vow of silence, all those kind of things that religious orders have done throughout the ages. Judaism does both. In Judaism, we're always doing things in the physical world: food, drink, family life, physical objects, whether it's a Torah scroll, a shofar, a lulav, tefillin, a talit. We use the physical world to serve God. We're obsessed with food. It has to be kosher. We have traditional foods for every occasion. We cook for every festival. Even Yom Kippur, when we don't eat, we make up for it before and afterwards. So Judaism is a very physical religion. Right? We celebrate weddings, the start of the Jewish family. You can't get more physical than family life and marital life. And it actually fits very well with the whole message of Shavuot, and hopefully something we can take away in terms of what we do at home in lockdown, or even not in lockdown, when we find ourselves at home, and our approach to Jewish life, because it's not just about being in shul or being in school or being at events. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we are told that before the giving of the Torah, there was a very curious thing. We say in Hallel, Hashamayim, Shamayim, Nadoishem, Ba'oretz, Nasan Livnei Adam. Right, the heavens are the Lord's, but the earth is given to man. Right? So you have the heavenly sphere and you have the earthly sphere. Right? One is where the angels and God lives, and the other is our world. And never the twain shall meet. And even though we're told our patriarchs did certain things, they kept certain mitzvot, it didn't have the permanence that it has nowadays. What happened at the giving of the Torah, the Midrash says it was like, you imagine two nations where there's a dividing line between them, a border, like East and West Germany, and suddenly the border is opened and people flood across the border. So it was, says the Midrash, with the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai. Moses ascended to the heavens and God descended to the mountain. And this is a paradigm for the new thinking that takes place, and the new mode, the new paradigm after Shavuot, after the giving of the Torah. Now suddenly, there is no dividing line between heaven and earth. We have the power to connect heaven and earth through Torah. How do we do that? Not by sitting on a mountaintop and living on bread and water, not by just studying all day long, but through the physical world, through the very physical material world we live in. That every mitzvah we do, not just mitzvahs that are esoteric, like loving God or even prayer, but practical mitzvah, giving charity, helping someone out, eating food, right? We celebrate with food, drinking, family life, using wine and alcohol in a responsible way, having fine china on our Shabbat and Yom Tov tables, wearing nice clothes for Shabbat and Yom Tov, decorating our homes with flowers or our shuls, please God, in the future. All of these things are very physical things. They're very materialistic. We celebrate things in a very materialistic way. Why is that? Because in Judaism, we take the material, we take the mundane, as we spoke about in last week's sermon, and we elevate it by using it for a higher purpose, not by rejecting it. We don't reject this world, but we use it for a higher purpose. And that is the greatest thing we can do. That's what we're put on this earth for, we're told, to make a dwelling place for God in this world. How do we do that? By connecting the infinite, high spiritual world with the very low, very limited physical world. And that's why the Torah was given on a mountain. What is a mountain? It's a pile of earth, right? It's a pile of muck. Because the Torah is not there for the highfalutin people in the ivory towers. The Torah is there for our everyday life, for all the mucky stuff we have to deal with, for the day-to-day grind, for all the dirt that we have to shovel in our lives. And the Torah is there to elevate it. And that's why we said last week, there's 6 days of the week and 1 day to Shabbos. Because the biggest job is not actually resting on the Sabbath and enjoying the spiritual sort of realms of Shabbat. The biggest job is to elevate our everyday lives. And that's what Matan Torah, that's what the giving of the Torah enabled. Before that, you had the heavens and the earth separate. After that, God said, now you can connect. Every mitzvah you do in this world connects to the infinite spiritual world. A mitzvah is a tzavta, a connection. That's what it means, to connect, to join the dots. The power we have every time we do anything, however mundane, and we do it in the right way, according to Judaism, according to Torah, we're doing a mitzvah, right? Not just the obvious ones, the ritual ones, the Friday night Kiddush, the Shabbat, the Yom Tov, but every time we give charity, every time we make a Kiddush Hashem in our lives by behaving appropriately in public, every time we're honest in our dealings, every time we do that, we're doing a mitzvah, we're elevating our everyday activities. And just to tie that in with the Parsha, because next week we read the Parsha of Naso, and in Naso we read about the Nazir, like Samson. The Nazir was somebody who vowed to stay away from wine for 30 days and meat and the pleasures of this world. And interestingly, we find conflicted views on this. Some say the Nazir was a very pious person who removed himself or herself from everyday life and society in order to live in piety. And others say, no, the Nazir had the wrong approach, because we shouldn't disengage from this world. We should engage with it. And in fact, the Torah tells us, even though the Torah says there is a mitzvah that you can become a Nazir, you can swear off certain pleasures for a period of time, at the end of it, you have to bring a sin offering. What's the sin? The commentaries say the sin is not enjoying the pleasures of this world. So which is it? Are we supposed to eat, drink, be merry, and just live the pleasures of this world? Or are we supposed to go be like the Nazir and refuse and disengage and reject worldly pleasure? And the answer, like most things, is we find a balance. There is a place for times of piety when we switch off, when we live spiritual lives. Like Yom Kippur, we don't eat and drink, we're like angels. We spend the day in contemplation. But that's only one day out of 350 something in the lunar year. The rest of the year, we do engage with the world. And so there might be a time and a place for that elevated realm of the Nazir. But most of the time, that's not what God wants from us. And as we mark the giving of the Torah of Shavuot, let's remind ourselves this fundamental, simple principle, which we can do anywhere, at home, in the privacy of our own homes. If we live on our own, we can still do it. Certainly if we have a public role, we can do it. If we have a communal role, we can do it. And please God, eventually when we're back in our shuls and our community centers, we can also do it. And that is every mitzvah we do, every physical act in this world is done according to Judaism and Jewish tradition. And Torah is an elevated act. It's holy, it's special, not just the ritual stuff that we're familiar with, but everything we do. The giving the Torah is about every aspect of our life. It's about elevating our lives and making them more spiritual. And we can all do that in so many ways without even realizing it. So as we celebrate Shavuot at home, the message, I think, is this. Every minute of our lives can be special and holy. Even the ordinary things we do in our home lives, in our working lives, in our whatever way, when done in the Jewish way, become holy and special. And that is the privilege of Judaism, that you can take all those pleasures of this world, all those everyday things that you do, and make them special and elevated. And that is the message of Matan Torah of Shavuot. As we celebrate Shavuot over the next 2 days, let's take that to heart and make sure that everything we do is not ordinary, but extraordinary and elevated. I wish everyone a Chag Sameach and a Shabbat Shalom. I hope you have a meaningful time over the coming few days. And a reminder that Yizk will be at 5:30 tonight, and together with the other local US shuls, we'll be doing a Tikkun Leil, some learning from 6:30 till 8:30 tonight as well on Zoom and on Facebook. So we will be online before Yom Tov. In the meantime, if anyone has any questions, please message me if I can help you in any way. Please take care, stay safe and well, look after yourselves, and have a lovely Chag.